Are you done? Are you gonna keep barking? If you guys hear like that clinking noise in the background, I apologize, it's Milo walking around. And if you hear ambulance, I'm really sorry. I live near a really big street. I apologize for that beforehand. So hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and I haven't done a sit down video in a while. I was actually looking over some of the videos that I filmed when I was in university and actually uploaded on my channel, but I actually unpublished some of it because I was really embarrassed. And I was watching one of them and it was about my life as a university student and how I actually came to study in Japan, I guess. And actually rewatching it, it was actually really interesting, and maybe there are some things in there that can help somebody who are planning to study here. So I thought I would refilm it and maybe film one that's not embarrassing. So yeah, this time this is my second attempt of filming this video. So I'm gonna start the story of how I came to be in Japan. When I was in high school, around the time before graduation, a lot of people started looking for different universities that they're going to go to after, and a lot of my classmates decided to go overseas, and I also was one of the people that planned to do that because my parents, both of them, have the privilege to be able to go to university overseas. My dad went to the US and my mom went to Canada, and they actually met in Canada, and then my dad moved. They told me that it was a very enriching experience. They even get to work there. My dad stayed in the US for I think more than 12 years, and he even had a PR and everything before moving back to Indonesia. And yeah, I'm from Indonesia, by the way, if you guys aren't aware. They thought that it also would be something that would be good for me to go study overseas, and it's been something that I've been wanting to do my entire life. And I kind of knew that for university, I wanted to move somewhere else. So before anything, I just want to say that being able to go to university overseas is a very big privilege that not a lot of people are able to have. And I just wanted to make it clear that just because you don't go to university overseas, that doesn't mean you can't have these kind of experiences or learn certain types of lessons. And I was fortunate enough to be in the position to be able to go through all these things without having to first pay for myself and have a loan afterwards. My parents are able to provide me with all these things, and I'm very grateful for that. And I could have probably taken advantage more of my university years, but nonetheless, having been here for almost 7 years now, I've learned a lot. It was an experience that I wouldn't trade for anything, and that's the end of my disclaimer. So I started by wanting to go to school in Canada. My mom went to school in York University in Toronto, and I actually have some family there, and we actually went to visit them. And we actually took a tour on some places in Canada. I really fell in love with Halifax when I went there, and actually told my mom I wanted to go to school there. My parents weren't really pushy. They weren't really picky of where I should go, but I kind of knew for a long time I was going to go to Canada. But this one time, my mom was reading her morning newspaper, and there's actually an advertisement for a university in Japan. Specifically, I think it was Ritsumeikan, and it's located in Kyoto. And I can mention my university name now because I don't go to school there anymore, which I couldn't in that video because I was still going there for privacy reasons. I didn't mention it. But I went to Doshisha University in Kyoto. And at that time, from the Ritsumeikan advertisement, my mom brought up the idea like, hey, why don't you try going to Japan for university? There's this thing called Global 30 program, and you can actually apply for school without knowing any Japanese and just take all your classes in English and earn a bachelor's degree. And that was a very interesting idea. Of course, I grew up like watching anime and reading manga like any other Asian kid. Is that a bad stereotype? But yeah, what am I trying to say? But yeah, it wasn't an idea that occurred to me that I could actually go to school here. And when she brought up the Global 30 program where you can actually take classes in English, I finally saw like, oh yeah, that might be like a good thing to try. And then she also mentioned that it wasn't a bad thing to like know a third language. I thought, yeah, that wasn't a bad idea. Like being able to speak another language, especially if you learn Japanese, might be easier for you to learn Korean. There's actually a lot of like similar words in Japanese and in Korean. And also if I'm already learning Japanese and learning kanji, might be easier if I want to learn Chinese in the future. I don't know. I'm still struggling with my Japanese. I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm here, so I went with her idea. I guess my mom would call it mother's instinct. And then she just thought that I would fit in this place, and I guess she was right. Me and my parents went to Tokyo to see some universities. It was Meiji University and Sophia, and I think it was Keio. I don't really want to go to school in Tokyo. I mean, I grew up around like Jakarta, so I kind of want a different atmosphere where it's not really like a big city. After Tokyo, we visited Kyoto, and I completely fell in love with the city. It's like a really good balance of like tradition, like city life, I guess. I applied for 2 different universities. It was first Dosha University, and the second one is Ritsumeikan. And we visited both universities personally, and anyone who applied or is going to or went to Ritsumeikan, do not come for me, but the university was like a little bit in a remote area. It was kind of hard to get to, and just the feeling of it didn't really match the kind of vibe that I was looking for. But when I went to Doshisha, it was actually really close to downtown. You can just take the subway from Shijo Station all the way to the Imadegawa campus. I guess if you're going to Doshisha, there's actually 2 buildings. The one in Imadegawa is actually really close to downtown, but there's another one called, actually never been there, but it's actually in a really remote place and you need to take a special bus to get there. I'll put the name right here if I remember. Yeah. If you guys research Doshisha University, honestly, the history is pretty interesting. And when we came in, we actually got a little like comic book about the founder. Wait, let me see if I can get it for you. Here it is. Can you see? Oh, yeah. My dad really liked this actually. The story is really interesting about how our university is founded. And I'm not trying to like be all patriotic about my university. If you guys want to research him, you can probably find it in the school website or something. But yeah, anyway, I really liked Doshisha, like the vibe, the buildings, the atmosphere. It was something that seemed to me to match with what I'm looking for in comparison to Ritsumeikan. So I decided to apply to both of them just in case. Because please do not just apply for one university. It's better if you have backups just in case. For the application process, it was actually, you needed a lot of different documents. I can't really remember it from the top of my head because obviously it's probably 7 years or 6, no, probably 8 years ago. But what I remember was there was a form that you need to fill out. We actually manually mailed it through like paper mail. With that, we had to submit a letter of recommendation from one of our teacher in high school because my schooling grade was in like numbers and then you need to change it to alphabets. Most of those documents you can probably get it through your school, your high school, but I'm pretty sure it varies depending on the school that you're going to. Also, we needed to have an interview, but because I was still in Indonesia, the professors from the university actually Skype called us, and according like a scheduled Skype interview, both people who were interviewed me actually ended up being my professors later on, so that was really interesting. I remember the day I found out I got in, I woke up that day, the first thing I did was jump to my laptop because they told us when they were going to release of your application number, whether you got accepted or not. And I remember on the list there's like 20 numbers or something, and my number was in it, and I was like so excited, and I got out of my bedroom. My mom was walking by and I'm like, "Mom, I got accepted." We started jumping around. "You're going to Japan." I didn't have to do the second interview with the other university because I already got accepted to the one that I wanted. After graduation, I immediately went, and my mom actually went with me because if you don't know, I'm actually an only child, so yeah, she was worried. If I had went to an English-speaking country, she probably would have went with me, but she wouldn't be as worried as if she was letting me go to a country where I didn't speak the language of. So she came with me for a couple, like I think it was like 2 months, I think. Not saying that I couldn't have done it by myself. It made the whole process easier. So with the Global 30 program, Doshisha have this program called the ILA, which is the Institute of Liberal Arts. I'm pretty sure some of the inside content has been moved around ever since I graduated, because I actually graduated 2008, 2007. I think it was 2008. I think you can focus on different majors, different kind of like categories, which is business and economics, and then law. And the other one was Japanese culture and something. I completely forgot. So you just need to take more classes of that certain category. So yeah, but honestly, taking like classes which is in the liberal arts really helped me experience different things, because not only did I have to focus on taking business classes, I was able to also take classes that are very interesting, such as I took criminal law class, American criminal law class, I didn't know why. It sounded interesting, and it actually was, because we spent a lot of time analyzing like different cases, which kind of shows why I'm very much in love with Stephanie Sue, Miss Mango Butt, and I listen to Rotten Mango podcast constantly. I also was able to take tea ceremony class, which was really interesting. Our tea master is Canadian, but he's actually, I think, one of the first foreigners to be able to like be a tea master. Talking about settling down, there's an option where you can actually get a lodging with the university. It's not really a dorm. They kind of rent out like certain apartments for students, and they would set up everything for you when you arrive, which was actually the simpler path. Like I ended up having to rent an apartment separately and not go through the like dorm type of situation in my university. But doing that is like an ordeal on its own. This is from my memory, by the way. I don't know if the system's different now. As a foreigner, it's important to remember, because if you're renting an apartment here, you will probably need a guarantor to guarantee you as a foreigner living in that apartment. When you're in university, my university became my guarantor. There's actually a lot of different rental agencies, is that it? Housing agencies around our university with our university logo on their office window. So you know that they accommodate for dosha students. And if you're actually going to dosha, there should be a lot of those around Imadegawa. You can just talk to them and explain that you're a student, and then you can go to the international office and ask for documents to help you rent a house here. If you actually wanted to get like a guarantor, like the housing agency can actually provide you with a guarantor, but the guarantor fee is actually not that cheap, and I think you pay either monthly or yearly, but I don't think it was that affordable. But if you're in a university, or if you are going to like maybe a language school, I think, have the place that you're going to like become your guarantor. But also there are some apartments that actually I stayed in one that didn't need a guarantor. So if you're lucky, either find an apartment that doesn't need a guarantor. I'm pretty sure it's a little bit more rare than the ones that need guarantors, or you can go ask your school to be your guarantor. So that's like the two things. I don't know if the process have changed, because this is actually my own place here. Actually, my fiance still rents, so maybe I'll ask him. Maybe I'll make a separate video about housings in Japan. But because I was actually moving to an actual apartment, I needed to buy everything from washing machine, like a couch, like a table, like TV and all that. But yeah, it would be easier if you go through the dorm, because you don't need to purchase that separately. But if you buy those things, I remember not being able to have them ship like the washing machine to my house. I actually purchased a washing machine from Yodobashi, and they wouldn't ship it to my house because I didn't have a phone number. So make sure when you settle down, get yourself a phone number, because you're gonna need it all the time for everything. If you ask me whether you're able to live in Japan and not speak Japanese fluently, I think daily life would be okay. It's difficult, I think, but it's not undoable, because especially with Google Translate and all that. But to sort out documents like going to the ward, registering yourself that you're there, and also afterwards, like me, if you're staying here, you need to register, pension and all that. I work here now, so my work does help me with those things, but sometimes you need to go there and sort out some documents, and you really need Japanese. And at the beginning, I was super lucky to have my classmates actually went to international school and was in my department to go with me and help out with everything. But then I met my then boyfriend, currently fiance, and from then on, that was his job to help. So I was really lucky to have a lot of people around me to help me out. But if you want to settle down here for the beginning, it's actually quite difficult. It's not like an easy breezy process as if you're able to speak the language, you know what I mean? I guess that's pretty obvious, but you know, I kind of want to just say it because it was really hard. But anyway, afterwards I was able to settle down and enjoy my classes and everything, and yeah, I regret nothing. I really liked my university experience here, but because this is like an international university type of program, so it might be a little bit different from like a traditional university experience. I know at least the main Japanese students taking normal classes in the like actually respective departments without being an international departments, their classes are a lot bigger. There's like a couple hundreds in one class, but because our program was relatively new and our department was still quite small, so there's actually not a lot of people. All the classes were actually relatively small. The most is probably like 40, 50, but like the small classes, you can probably have like 10 students, like 20 students, like 5 students. But overall, I really had a lot of fun. If I could go back, I'd probably pick Japan again. And if I wanted to live in Canada, I can just do it in the future. I might actually. But yeah, that was a small rundown about my life in university and how I came to be here, and 7 years later I'm still here. I actually went to language school after I finished university. Some people do it the other way around. They went to language school and then they go to university afterwards, which is like more of the common route, and it makes more sense in a lot of cases. But yeah, that's just how mine went, and I'm gonna make a separate video on that. If you have any questions regarding that, put them in the comments down below. And if you guys have any specific questions you guys want to ask me regarding university life, or like just being able to settle down here and everything, I think I can make a video about that. That would be really interesting. I've been wanting to make one of those for a really long time actually. So yeah, leave your questions down below. I'm gonna try and answer all of it. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.